To be immortal is to not be all-powerful. Lord Mannimarco had shed the frailties of flesh to find himself presiding over a domain beset by its own weaknesses. He possessed an eternity to achieve his goals, but eternity would be squandered without the efficient and reliable tools. His gaze, for the moment, turned inward, not to his own soul, which he had long since cast aside, but to the very composition of his court, and the refinement of his strategies, and his repertoire of power required new additions. We find ourselves in Mannimarco's dark, lone sanctum. He summons and observes a skeletal knight that he has recently amalgamated together among the bones and flesh of those who have been dead. From the crumbling pile of bones. I expend my energy to raise a knight from the dust, and this is the result. This undead is weak. What am I supposed to do with such a worthless creature? It is a waste of magicka. No. Creating servants from scratch is inefficient. I need more living assets to leverage. Making them from scratch into liches does not hone their skill or retain any empathy. I require their souls if I am to make proper minions. And thus, Mannimarco focused on a more direct tool, abduction. And he had many schemes running concurrently, a testament to his new ability, and as a lich, he found the dread that he inspired made such plots easier. And as he reviews the results of his plotting, one had failed and one had succeeded, leading into the capture of a robust woman. So the King of Worms hides behind kidnapping women from their homes? Puh. You are a robust woman, a capable warrior. Your previous master failed to appreciate your value. I will not make the same mistake. You will now serve me. I will serve no monster, she retorts. Your service is not a matter of choice, and your integration into my domain will be productive. As he gestures Adrian to come into the field, a high-ranking knight, my battlery requires a spouse, and you are both strong and uniquely gifted. Your union will allow future warriors into my ranks. You will serve me. And this, of course, was the essence of Mannimarco's ambitions. He would destabilize his enemies and strengthen his own court with a cold, calculated maneuver. The house was now in order, and his gaze could turn outward once again towards the vulnerable and rich lands that lie beyond his borders. Let us assess what we have. To the west, the Johannifs grow stronger, their alliance is formidable. They amass more troops, and their quality is not to be trifled with. To the north, my recent ventures have bought us time, and the deaf among their clans have left their heirs to their squabbles. And to the east, they pose no immediate threat. But I wouldn't want to rage in that area now. That leaves the southern territories, my lord. Indeed. The lands of Volknu. The Lady Matelaire is a proud lady, but her position is vulnerable. Does she have allies I need to be concerned with? Our intelligence suggests not, my king. Her connections are thin. then the decision is clear, and it will be a swift strike against the disconnected enemy. We will take her holdings and add them to our domain. We will march on Volknu. It was a bold plan set in motion, and it would gather a momentum of its own, and it had often unforeseen consequences. Lord Mannimarco's legions would march south to Volknu. The King of Worms was confident, but the world does not wait for one war to end before the beginning of another. Soon approached a letter in Mannimarco's tent. From that of a respectful, confident high elf noble. Lord Mannimarco, I have heard of your disputes with the rattling bag of bones, Vanus Galerion. Our mutual interest in seeing that fool humbled. I'm sure we will get along well. I offer you my friendship. So, this other elf has an interesting hatred of my nemesis. My reputation continues to attract interesting allies. Very well, I will accept your friendship. And a minor but welcome development, this brief moment was shattered by the harsh reality of his strategic position, and his main army would engage the lands of Volknu. But the weight of that would be hampered by activities of other lords to the south. My lord, it has been reported that the chieftain Erushir has declared war and seeks to take our lands. The fool. What are his forces? Erushir's forces are more numerous than we have anticipated. He has many troops and 8 champions of his own, while we have less. A direct battle would be unwise. Let us avoid battle for now. I will not throw my legions away. In a fight that I cannot win, let him advance. What is he doing? Mannimarco was forced into a precarious position of cat and mouse. Erushir's movements were erratic, as if the High Chieftain was fighting his own war on another front simultaneously. This confusion, however, presented an opportunity. Mannimarco's spies would report that Erushir had hired a small, separate company of mercenaries to bolster his forces. So his main army is the hammer, and the mercenaries are a dagger. We cannot blunt the hammer yet, but we can shatter the dagger before it strikes. Hunting down and wiping out these mercenaries would be our best course of action. Let his main forces wander the hills. We will pick his army apart piece by piece. And while his legions maneuver to intercept the mercenary band, Mannimarco delved into his own powers. He knew he needed more bodies, more fodder to throw at his enemies and overwhelm them with sheer numbers. And the Lich Lord's strategy was sound. He would successfully maneuver his growing horde, forcing the main army of High Chieftain Erushir to break off its siege to deal with the threat. And this would bring Mannimarco precious time, and more importantly, keep his 2 enemies separated. And the hunt for the mercenaries was on. In the midst of this campaign, Mannimarco's own understanding of warfare deepened, and he would have a new tactical insight that would allow him to make knights and hire more knights. Caught in a war on 2 fronts, the immortal lord did not panic but adapted. And with a level of ruthlessness, he would turn a desperate defense into a calculated hunt. And the survival of his own domain now hinged on a single crucial battle, not against a king or a chieftain, but against a band of sellswords who are about to discover the terrifying price of accepting a contract from an enemy of the King of Worms. The art of war for an immortal mind is not a matter of glorious charges, but of cruel, brutal arithmetic. Lord Mannimarco, having isolated the mercenary contingent of the High Chieftain's army, now moved to eliminate them from the equation. The traps he sprung was not intricate magic, but the simple, undeniable logic of overwhelming numbers. The mercenaries were professionals, and their quality superior to any one of Mannimarco's thralls. But they could not hope to kill the same foe a dozen times. And in this battle of attrition, it was a gruesome spectacle that ended with the sellswords being dragged down into the earth and destroyed. With Erushir's reinforcements erased, the two-front war had effectively become one. Mannimarco would press this advantage, forcing a final decisive engagement. He would achieve what his foes thought impossible, a victory on two fronts. Mannimarco would secure his southern border and end the campaign against Volknu. The lands of his enemies were successfully occupied, and his domain would expand. And in the aftermath, he even captured a skilled goblin warrior, whom he promptly recruited to his court, ever seeking to increase the effectiveness of his own knights. It was a successful campaign, but in the web of intrigue offered its own vexations, and as reports from the war concluded, his spy master would deliver another report. His carefully planned abduction schemes had failed. But these failures, of course, success was never guaranteed amongst his intrigue, amongst the whims of incompetence and chance, but it was the reality of his internal reign. Victory in one area would mean failure in another. His treasury would remain low, and his new land still needed to be converted over to the ways of the worm cult. Mannimarco would need to shift his focus from conquest to an economic form of stimulus. However, that does not mean that action would be belayed. Generals, the war is over, but the raiding begins. Reform the legions. They will not rest. They will pillage the surrounding territories until our coffers is full once more. There will be no peace, but just a shifting of minds. And now Mannimarco would redirect his undead legions to begin their campaign of terror and plunder, raiding the lands to the south in an act of vengeance at the thought that they could hope to expand and cross over and take the lands of Mannimarco. But amongst this, the chieftain of a local goblin tribe whose lands were just ravaged by Mannimarco's raiders had the audacity to request an audience. You come to me after I have pillaged your villages? You have courage. I could kill you where you stand. But we wish to understand the will of the Great Worm King. Please do not kill us. And in that moment, Mannimarco pondered. He was going to turn this chieftain into a thrall, but he had a better idea. No. Yes. To kill you would just be a simple act, but to let you live, to let you return to your people and speak of my power and my mercy, yes, that is far more useful. It will keep others from wanting to test my borders. Go, Goblin, and tell the world that the King of Worms is not to be trifled with. And then the end of this saga, it was not with a final bloody execution, but an act of psychological warfare. Mannimarco won his wars, endured failures, and was funding his eternal reign through raiding, all while manipulating and maintaining the fears of his neighbors. The methods were varied, but his mortality and morality were non-existent. For the King of Worms, there was no good or evil, but only the relentless pursuit of power, and the ends would always justify the means.